Hello, everyone. I'm Megan Sullivan, and welcome to my historical game review series. Today, I'm reviewing the PS5 version of Assassin's Creed Shadows, developed and published by Ubisoft. If you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe to History and Games. I would truly appreciate it. Thank you. So, the good news about Assassin's Creed Shadows is it's a good game. The bad news is it's not a great game, and honestly, I'm a little disappointed by it. The story, the parkouring, the funky UI all feel like they could have been better than they are, and the historical accuracy is a pretty mixed bag. But let's start with the gameplay because no matter what, a good game has to be a good game first. In Assassin's Creed Shadows, you have two protagonists and thus two different styles of gameplay. The Shinobi Naoe represents the more traditional way of playing Assassin's Creed, which involves a lot of hiding, sneaking, swimming, and parkouring around the environment. Naoe is small and fast, and her toolkit is perfect for assassinations. Not only can she lie prone on the ground for extra cover, not only can she wield a grappling hook that lets her quickly climb onto roofs where she can observe enemies unseen, but if she is accidentally seen, she can use throwing knives, shuriken, and smoke bombs to make a quick escape, distract the guards, or take out a chunk of their health at a distance. And if she is forced to fight, and there are times when it's unavoidable, she has access to three main weapon types: a katana for parrying attacks, a kusarigama for attacking multiple enemies at once, and a smaller blade known as a tanto for performing quick combos. In a one-on-one fight, these are very useful. Having said that, Naoe isn't great in a group fight, and I appreciate that if you directly face an enemy, especially a fully armed samurai, they'll actually catch Naoe by the wrist and push her backwards, preventing her from a quick kill. Thus, the only way for Naoe to win a fight involving more than two people or a heavily armed soldier is to dodge and parry for her life, and then hope her poison blade finishes off an enemy quickly. Now, when Naoe is feeling cooperative, she is very fun to play. The problem is that parkouring in this game, a key component to successfully sneaking up on enemies, is super frustrating. Naoe will constantly give herself away to an entire castle worth of enemies because instead of quietly jumping off the roof eaves like I told her to, she'll jump right in front of her target. And then she won't climb a wall for a quick escape, or she'll glue herself to an object, leaving her vulnerable to incoming enemy attacks. Assassin's Creed has always had sticky parkouring, this is nothing new, but I was really hoping by now Ubisoft would have fixed this problem. And they haven't, which is why I've been spending a lot of my time playing as Yasuke. Yasuke, who comes with really cool battle music by the way, represents a much more action-oriented approach to combat. Instead of sneaking around, he can just bust through walls and take out enemies through sheer force. This man is a powerhouse, and he comes with a cool kit. He can switch between a sword, a gun, and a bow. All three weapons, which were indeed used during the Warring States period of Japan, feel great to use. Yasuke feels great to use. I just wish the battle camera didn't block my view of the awesome action, which it tends to do and can be very annoying. Other than that, the only problem with playing as Yasuke is that he doesn't really feel like an Assassin's Creed character, so it doesn't always feel like you're playing an Assassin's Creed game. Still, it was pretty satisfying mowing down enemies every time I stormed a castle, and I laugh every time Yasuke makes the leap of faith and then just drops like a rock. And there are plenty of opportunities for him and Naoe to make that leap because the map is huge and very pretty. And when I say pretty, I mean really pretty. The flora, the fauna, the castles, the villages, the very cool weather and seasonal effects. It's all very, very pretty to look at, although admittedly there are a lot of empty spaces in the game. I once went, I kid you not, nearly 15 minutes without running into a single soul on the map. But when Naoe and Yasuke are near civilization, it's really cool to hang around real historical places like Kofun tombs and Nijo Castle. If you just want to get lost in 16th century Japan, this is the game for you. Although I should mention, the user interface for the overworld map is weird. You have to constantly bounce between the objective and map tabs and then use the painfully slow cursor to really zoom in and properly mark things on the map. It's kind of a clunky system. Luckily, building a base of operations, aka a hideout that you can return to between missions, is a much easier feature to navigate. This upgradable hideout lets Naoe and Yasuke forge better weapons, take on contracts, aka side quests, and recruit scouts who can help locate assassination targets and gather crafting materials. And what's neat is that you can decorate your homestead and recruit an army of adorable floofs to occupy it. I like this feature, although I'm not crazy about having to constantly grind for crafting materials. But I do really like that the hideout is where Naoe and Yasuke can get to know each other and their allies. By the way, you can romance some of these allies, although I should warn you, this feature is clumsily implemented. For example, Naoe witnesses a tragic incident, but for some reason, she has the option to flirt with the instigator of said tragedy. Like, read the room, Ubisoft. Still, having romance options is mildly amusing a lot of the time and breaks up the otherwise humorless, surprisingly mundane story. Okay, mundane is too strong of a word. It's not a bad story, but so far, it's not that great either. The tale of Naoe and Yasuke starts off as a typical tale of vengeance. Naoe is a denizen of Iga province who seeks justice after her father and friends are murdered and a valuable item is stolen from their village. Naoe uses her skills as a fledgling shinobi to run reconnaissance and take out her enemies, but soon learns that her enemy may not actually be the enemy she's looking for. Because of course, this is a modern Assassin's Creed game, and an evil faction wearing masks are the ones making her life miserable. While tracking this group down, she meets Yasuke, a retainer to the famous warlord Oda Nobunaga, who has his own reasons for hunting down these masked villains. The two realize they have a lot in common and team up to take down the bad guys. How? By building a giant base, gathering allies to their cause, and helping the local populace with their problems. Also by looting and assassinating baddies, typical AC stuff. All of which sounds great, except honestly, guys, I am super bored with the story. I admit I'm somewhere between a third and halfway through the story right now, but I just can't get into it. And I think a lot of that has to do with the pacing. It's just so incredibly slow. In fact, it's so sluggish that I nearly quit the game barely 10 hours in because most of the time it was nothing more than tedious flashbacks to Naoe's past that can only be accessed through an annoying minigame. These flashbacks are part tutorial and part story exposition, but they drag on, and they don't go away. Yasuke has these flashbacks as well, and because there's so much bouncing around in the timeline, knowing when the game takes place can get confusing. This piecemeal approach barely makes any sense. And then there are the characters themselves. Everyone is so utterly humorless and devoid of any real personality. And while I'm super impressed with some of the historical name-dropping, not just the big ones like Nobunaga, Hideyoshi, Mitsudai, etc., but smaller names as well, I can't help but feel a little underwhelmed by their presence. Again, everyone is just so serious most of the time, to the point they're kind of dull. To be brutally honest, I'm so disappointed with the cast of characters that I don't see myself finishing the story unless it turns around very soon. And finally, I wanted to talk about the historical accuracy in this game. First of all, Assassin's Creed games are never meant to be super historically accurate. They're about alien technology and going back and forth in time and punching a pope in the face and playing as a female Spartan warrior and all that kind of stuff. We know it's fiction, subgenre, history. I will say I'm impressed again with some of the name dropping in this game, and it's pretty cool to climb all over Nijo Castle or visit Kofun Tombs. However, I do think it was a little bit of a stretch the way that Naoe and Yasuke could kind of just rock up to any historical figure and start having a conversation with them, which it feels a little unfair. This isn't something totally new to Assassin's Creed, but it was a little distracting knowing what I do about Japanese history and culture. But that's okay. Look, the game is just supposed to immerse you in a different world, and it does that. It's just not always terribly exciting. Still, all in all, the gameplay is fun and the world is really beautiful. Now, having said that, I would wait for this game to go on sale before fully committing to it. It's good, just not $70 good. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later.